Hey, DogWatch listeners, Bob McDuffie here, and I want to talk to you a little bit about taste. We get a lot of questions here at Cigar Media that involve taste in one way or another. How do I improve my palate? How do I learn to taste all those wonderful flavors that you guys talk about? And most important, I never taste marzipan. Why is that? Well, I thought I'd take a minute and talk to you about taste and cigars. Now, Tobacconist University has some additional information about these tastes that you may want to take advantage of. So you can get up to their website. It's free. Take advantage of it and try it out. Take advantage of all that great knowledge that they have up there about cigars. So first, let's discuss a little bit about what taste is and how it applies to cigars. Perceiving a cigar really involves more than just our sense of taste. It involves our sense of taste, it involves our sense of smell, our sense of sight, touch, and in some cases, even hearing. You know, if you hear a crackle in your cigar, that gives you an indication something's going on. Maybe beetles, maybe it's just really dry, little things like that. So it all comes together, and if you involve retrohaling in it, then it's not just the aroma of the cigar that you're picking up on your sniffer, but you enhance some of the flavor profiles. Now, retrohaling is a topic for a whole nother discussion, but if you haven't tried it, it's something you might want to consider. Now, Aristotle first proposed way back in 350 BC that the two most basic tastes or senses of taste were sweet and bitter. That's as far as he got, was sweet and bitter. But his efforts really were the first to document human tastes. As of the early 20th century, physiologists and psychologists believed that there were four basic tastes: bitter, salty, sour, and sweet. At that time, umami wasn't even considered a flavor. Nobody really thought about it. But then, because of the influence of Asian, Indian, and Chinese cultures and their food, there began to be a recognition of umami or savory as a flavor. Now, savory is usually meaty. Things like mushrooms, root vegetables. It's that meat flavor, that savoriness that you get from meats. And so that was brought in as the sixth sense. But then since the 1950s, they brought in a seventh sense. And there may be some disagreement about this, but it's the taste of metallic, a metallic taste. And the reason they've added that as the seventh is because it can't be duplicated by combining any of the other six. And that's what's important here. Everything that we talk about when it comes to cigars or food, a caramel flavor, a leather flavor, or a marzipan flavor, pepper, spices, those sorts of things, all typically come from some combination of these flavors on your tongue. All these separate individual components have receptors on your tongue. Put together, it comes up to be something. So now we have 7 components. We have salty, sweet, sour, bitter, spicy, metallic, and umami. And if you think about those 7, you can pretty well describe any cigar you smoke in those 7 components. Your recognition of the flavors as a whole is dependent on your experiences. You can't really recognize a flavor that you've never experienced. You can perceive it, but you may not be able to describe it or put a name to it. And that's okay. We'll talk a little bit later about how to expand your perception of flavors. But for now, just concentrate on those 7. One of the most often overlooked components of flavors and perceiving flavors in your mouth is pH. That's the acid-alkaline balance within your mouth. Now, by its nature, left to its own devices, your mouth is neutral. It's neither acidic nor alkaline. It's neutral. And that's great because that allows you, from neutral, you can pick up the nuances to either side of acidic or alkaline. Cigars are alkaline. Cigarettes are acidic. So they have different effects on your palate. So the effect of smoking a cigar is alkaline. It tends to move your palate, your mouth, pH towards the alkaline side of the scale. What does that mean to you, the cigar smoker? Well, it means as you smoke a cigar, your taste can change. As you smoke multiple cigars consecutively, your ability to taste, or what, not really your ability, but what it is you taste, what you perceive, can change as well. So as you consume various products, the pH of your mouth will vary, and the pH of your mouth will affect the ability to perceive flavors in a cigar. Taste is the sensation produced when a substance in the mouth reacts chemically with receptors or taste buds. pH affects this chemical reaction. Think of it as a chemical reaction, and it all gets pretty simple. For instance, if you start with a mouth that is more acidic, say you've been drinking lemonade, lemon juice, then adding the alkaline characteristics of cigar smoke will move your palate towards neutral, but will likely mask many of the flavors in the cigar, which are by their nature alkaline. They're absorbed into the acidity to raise you back to neutral, but that doesn't give you those alkaline flavors that are in the cigar. So how do you deal with this when you're tasting a cigar? Well, the best thing to do is start from neutral, and you do that by being aware of what you've eaten and what you've drunk. It doesn't mean you have to always start from neutral. If you're trying to review cigars like we do here on the show, then it's a good idea to start from neutral. So before you begin a cigar, consider where your mouth has been. Have you been eating spicy food, which can be acidic, or drinking acidic drinks like coffee or cola, tea? If so, consider drinking something neutral like water, and slightly alkaline if it's slightly alkaline. If your mouth is acidic, you want to move it more alkaline, drink something like milk or neutral water to help move your palate towards neutral. If you've been eating ice cream, you're going to have more alkaline. Milk is more alkaline than acidic, so you consider adding a slight bit of acidity to help your palate, like a lemon sorbet or a little bit of coffee or something like that. Now, I'm not going to get into the flavors of alcohol because that's not my strength. Food is something I'm much more aware of. So how do you maintain your palate while smoking a cigar? Well, that answer comes in two parts and depends. If you're trying to review a cigar and extract all the flavors possible in the experience, then consider drinking just plain old water while you smoke the cigar. I like sparkling water because I like the extra cleaning effect that I get from the carbon dioxide bubbles in there. It's nice. Raw almond slivers. Craig loves to use almond slivers. That's a great way to do it. A little bit of lemon sorbet as you move through the tasting process, or because we want to go to acidic, you can work a little bit with the saltiness, but not much. You can work with sourness, lemon, those sorts of things. So think about that. Remember, the idea is to help your palate recover quickly to gain a neutral pH. However, if you're just looking to enjoy a cigar, you're sitting down with friends, you're sitting down in your own home watching TV or working on the computer or whatever, and you just want to enjoy a cigar, then it becomes less of an issue to maintain your palate. And a lot of us like to pair our cigars with certain types of drinks. I find a lot of cigars go very well with coffee. That's because of the alkalinity of the cigar, the acidity of the coffee, and tea as well. Cola, certain liquors, scotch, things like that, people like to pair either because it contrasts, like acidity to alkalinity, or it enhances the alkalinity to bring out the flavors a little bit more. So whichever way you want to go, that's fine as well. You just understand how this works. That's the whole idea here. The bottom line is pair your cigars with whatever gives you the most enjoyment from the experience. And if you find a particular cigar tastes a little funny today, but it didn't yesterday, or the last time you smoked it, consider the idea of pH in there. What have you done different? What's different about your mouth? The cigar is probably the same, so what's changed about you that's changing that flavor perception? By the way, the secret to surviving things like cigar tourism trips or cigar conventions or HERFs where you're just smoking a lot of cigars on a daily basis is water. Lots and lots of water. Drink water while you're smoking. Drink water between cigars. You cannot hydrate enough, and it helps your body also because smoking tends to dehydrate, but more importantly, it keeps your palate neutral and fresh so you can enjoy every cigar. So let's talk a little bit about your palate and how you can expand your palate. As I mentioned earlier, you can't really describe or put a name to a flavor that you haven't already experienced. So when you sit down to eat something, think about those 7 basic flavors: sweet, sour, bitter, spicy, umami, metallic, spicy. I think that's 7 anyway. I can't remember what all of them were. So anyway, think about those and how what you're eating affects that. So if you're eating a particular dish, you know what's in that dish. Tomato sauce is very acidic. How does that taste on your palate? What's the effect of that tomato sauce on your palate? What's the effect of those umami or savory mushrooms on your palate? What's the effect of whatever it is you're eating? And experiment a little bit with foods. You can go out and buy a few caramel candies. Find out what caramel tastes like. Maybe in a couple of different varieties. Chocolate. I mean, there are certain things we're probably all familiar with, but a lot of other things that we need to get registered in our brain. So your brain can associate that set of sensations with that flavor, and then the word comes to you when you want to describe it in a cigar. So take a minute when you're eating to do that. You can also add in some extra flavors. Now, we talk a lot about a taste of fresh hay or leather. Some of those aren't so much flavors on the palate as they are sensations on the palate combined with an aroma, with a sense of smell. So don't discredit what you smell when you eat as well. We don't eat hay or leather, at least I don't, but we do recognize the aroma of these items, and that can be triggered by retrohaling. Mentioned that a little bit earlier, or just experiencing the room aroma of a cigar. If you've never experienced fresh cut hay or the aroma of straw, don't expect to be able to identify those flavors in your cigars. You'll know they're there, but you can't really put a word to them, put a name to them. And that's okay. You'll get it there. Try to associate it with something else. Find something else in your experience that it associates with and use that as a descriptor. Maybe it's just your favorite goulash that Grandma used to make. It reminds you of that smell you get in the kitchen. Whatever it is, it's a valid descriptor because it relates to you and your experience. Well, I hope this couple of minutes helps to explain a little bit about taste, pH, and flavor perception for cigar smokers. Thanks again. Have a great time, and thanks for listening.